Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Camera Tuesday, we're gonna talk about CFexpress cards for the future. So let's dive deep into it. So we have to understand what exactly is the problem that we need CFast Express for the future. Well, still photos have risen in megapixel. Basically, I remember the good old days where it was 8 megapixel. My first true photo kind of equipment was a Sony Ericsson K810i Cybershot mobile phone camera. That was like 3.2 megapixel. Now we have 32 megapixels. And again, you can easily go to cameras that have 100 megapixel. So megapixels have gone up exponentially, and not to mention the burst rate has also gone up, meaning in the film camera era, you would be lucky to get 5 or 10. Some scenarios you could go to 10, but I think it was like tuck, 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 that's it. So from that to easily, even like A7 Mark V starts at 30 fps, so you can be damn sure any model they will release afterwards will be even faster. Like A9 Mark III can easily deal with 120 fps. I'm talking stills only, and again these are full raw files, so brutal amount of speed is needed for your flash memory to keep up. Failure to do so, you'll be like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna come tomorrow. So that's a very serious issue on the stills front. And in the video has become the backbone. Like flat out, it's the backbone of photography. Whether you like it or not, it is. And be mindful, there are two classes of video. One is the source video and another is transportation video, or like sharing video. Basically, your YouTube is compressed beyond belief. Only then it can be transported to you and you can watch it. What we call delivery formats. So those are very different. They are what we call a GOP, group of pictures. So you have one frame, you have another frame, and the frames in between does not exist. What they have is what we call predictive frame. It just have a mathematical algorithm. This pixel changes like this. There is no data. That's why you're not supposed to use them for actual editing. If you want to do video editing properly, you always use what we call all eye. And penalty of that is you would be shocked how much heavier the file becomes if you go from GOP to all eye. All other things remaining the same, you are looking at 5x the file size. And again, even this Canon 800D, when I record in all eye, which again, it's a much more pleasant format for video editing, because again, when your playhead is moving, it does not have to render something. It's like, I have the frame. You do not get motion compression effects and all that. So those are really good. But file size, brutal. And then we went from 8-bit files to 10 bits. Like now, nobody is happy at 8 bits. So everybody has to scale up the bits to 10 bits. Be mindful, delivery is still at 8, but if you have a good source, you can tweak the colors decently well and then make it far more pleasant 8-bit. 8-bit to 8-bit is like you kind of limited. 10-bit to 8-bit, you have a wiggle room. And again, God help you if you want to do raw, that can easily go from 12-bit to 14 bits. And if you're like cinema DNG, that those are like 16-bit. Brutal. They're not big, they're brutal. And then we chroma subsampling, because again, a lot of people want to do green screening, advanced effects and all that. You don't want chroma subsampling. So 444 and raw if possible. All these things have made video file sizes brutal. We are used to what we call delivery format. So you think, oh, it's a video file, how big it could be. You can share it in Telegram, share it in WhatsApp. But the moment you look at the source file, it is bonkersly brutal. Like hundreds of megabytes per second would be required to handle it. And again, you can see that a best example is iPhone. iPhone was like, hey, we own the proprietary codecs of ProRes. ProRes allows you to have all this thing packaged well. And like, okay. And again, editing software works with it. So all of that is cool, awesome, GG. But here's the problem with that. If they did that, the internal memory will fill up instantaneously. So they have to have a SSD. They literally, and I have to say, Apple did the wise thing. It's like, hey, directly write it into SSD, remove the SSD, put it in computer, do the editing. That's much wiser use rather than like, directly trying to read and write in the camera. So that was wise. And you can see that should give you an idea. If Apple could not find a easy solution, nobody else can. And again, Panasonic has been like, okay, let's just use USB-C SSD recording because everything else is so expensive. Blackmagic has been doing raw files, and again, like, how the heck Blackmagic does raw when Red has patent? Blackmagic does that because they do half compression. Like their raw is not fully raw. Like debayering algorithm is done in the camera. If you do debayering in the post file, that is Red patent. Don't worry about it. It will expire. The patent will expire in 2028. After that, you will randomly see almost every camera company giving raw capabilities. because Canon has to have a deal with it. Blackmagic has to do cheat code around it, and Nikon literally bought Red in order to give that format. So wait till 2028. So you can understand that SD card is just not good enough anymore. Now, in the early days, SD card was exponentially growing, meaning it was faster than your camera can do. However, that's not possible anymore. We upgraded it to hell, as in like we upgraded to UHS-2, as in we added extra pins so we can read and write data faster. But it pooped out at V90. And if you're like, okay, what is V90? If you remember the old days, it was like, class 4, class 6, class 8, and class 10. Those were Mbps, capital B. Now, Mbps simply means no matter what happens, this card will be able to write at that speed without an issue. You must have been seeing this in Windows. Whenever you transfer file, it goes like super high speed and then it slows down. That slowdown will never go below the rated speed. So rated speed is, let's say, if these cards which you require nowadays for modern cameras, V90, meaning the file will never go below. Like camera can trust that this pipeline will not choke below V90. It will go above it, but not below it. So that certification is expensive. And again, it's not expensive. Like you just can't use cheap NAND flash. So that's why you can easily find large SD card. You can't find large and fast SD card. So V90 is upper limit, and be mindful, the moment you want to do, let's say, Red RAW, like Nikon ZR, that puppy is 150 Mbps, capital B. That's brutally fast. This is like, bro, I can't do that. Now, like, wait a minute, doesn't it say 300 Mbps? Yeah, it can't guarantee it. Meaning, if you're writing file to it, it could randomly choke and that will stop your video recording. So for that reason, certification matters, and V90 is the upper limit of SD card. So that created a paradox. Right now, SD cards are expensive, they are slow, and they are small. Meaning, if you want to do Red RAW recording, yeah, you're gonna need terabytes. Good luck finding even 2 terabyte of SD card that is V90. And let's not even try a V200 that does not exist yet in SD card. And I'm not even sure that it's ever gonna exist. It's like we have better solution now. So as you can see, I'm seeing different brands. We have Patria, we have Angelbird, and we have SanDisk Extreme Pro. I have Lexar. All of them are idiotically expensive, like 60,000, 50,000, 50,000. These are expensive. So not only they're expensive, they are slow and they're small. So that creates a very serious bottleneck at this point in time. So we need something that is fast, as in read-write speed should be fast. And again, read speed also matters simply because even if your camera is only writing at, let's say, 150 Mbps maximum, raw, cool, awesome, GG. You don't want to wait, okay, I'm going to put out the card and then I'm going to put in card reader and then I'm going to wait. You don't want to do that. You're like, hey, bro, dump it as fast as possible. So fast read and write both are desirable. Small, so it can actually fit inside the camera. You do not want like, okay, I have a SSD on top of it. Small and cheap, so we can actually afford the damn thing. So that's the problem that we are facing right now. SD card, it's on its last leg. Only cheap cameras can deal with it. So how we have tried to solve it, historical context. Well, if you are old enough, you remember like there was a time that cheap camera used to have SD card. Pro cameras, pro DSLR used to have this card, compact flash card. And again, this format remained relevant for prosumer equipments and pro equipments for a very long time. And this was basically PATA. If you remember the old computer hard drives, they used to have a ribbon connector for a hard drive. It was the same thing. PATA interface, parallel advanced technology of attachment. Basically, it was just computer HDD technology, that interface directly plonked into a card format. So they started with that, and they, it was decent. And again, for 2004, it was 66 Mbps. That was good. That's why, like, if you look into old Canon DSLR, they had like 2 of those puppy, and the buffer, buffer was not an issue. It's the card, it could keep writing it. This was like actually faster than SD card. However, they learned very early on, as in like, at the early phase of 2010, they are like, yeah, this is reaching upper limit. So they created a new format. So PATA was, again, it was abandoned in computer long ago. So computer switched from PATA to SATA. Cable became thinner, only few pins. So they made CFast 2.0. So this puppy was launched in 2009. However, this had a very serious issue. It has horrendously poor adoption, meaning very few companies did. Canon, I think, is the large major one that I can easily think of, and almost nobody else seriously took into it. Like some cinema cameras, they had to. There was nothing else that can deal with it. But CFast did not have proper adoption, even though it was coming from a pro system and it was just SSD. Nothing more. Like even manufacturing would have been cheaper. It was SSD. They started with SATA 2.0, 300 Mbps, and then they jumped to SATA 3.0, 600 Mbps. Be mindful, this puppy right now is fast enough that it should be able to handle red raw. So that was there, but it did market penetration. It just did not went deep enough. However, at the same time, Sony was also dealing with that. Like they also had that same issue for their FX series of video cameras. So they tried their unique trick. Although they did something clever, CFast Association tried to copy paste hard drive technology. Sony was like, hey, hard drive is gone. Hard drive won't be there. So they directly jumped into SSD technology. So they made XQD, this puppy, which was first launched with Nikon. Nikon was the only one that trusted it. So XQD was created. Now XQD was running on PCI Express, not SATA, PCI Express. If you look into your motherboard, below the processor, that big lane, that is PCI lane. And using NVMe protocol, meaning fundamentally, even though it was made by the Sony almost same time as CFast, it was foundational was much better, much faster, much more throughput, designed for SSD day one, and same protocol, same engineering used by computer manufacturers, laptop manufacturers, and all that jazz. So Sony made that, but again, because it was Sony, there was no adoption, and only mirrorless that actually came with it was Nikon. Nobody else trusted it. So both of them realized compact flash association, it does not work. SD association was like they are trying their best to make a next generation SD card, but both of the association reached a point where it's like, yeah, what do we do right now? So Sony went to basically CFast associations like, hey, let's get married together. So they gave their XQD format completely to CFast association. Benefit of that is now every Tom, Dick and Harry is like, this is the solution, this is the future, we can use it. Every company jumped into it, from Fuji to Blackmagic to Panasonic to Canon to Nikon to everything. Oh, and because it was donated format, all they had to do, basically anybody who bought Nikon camera that has SQD, all they had to do is do firmware update and it will work with CFast Express. Pin is exactly the same. Protocol is PCI Express, NVMe, it just works. All they had to do is change the firmware. So that created CFexpress format. That is the future right now. And it started with Type B. And again, early days, it was not called Type B because it was just XQD. But again, it was there. And they started with upgrading it. Basically, when Sony released it, PCI 2.0 was the backbone. When CFast upgraded it, they upgraded it to PCI 3.0. You have to have very ancient computer if you have PCI 3.0. Like my last computer had PCI 3.0. That was 10 years old. So few years ago. So PCI 3.0, and they called it V1. This was basically what people jumped to after Nikon abandoned XQD. Now be mindful, you could buy a XQD card, put it into there, it will work. If you have a CFast Express card, you can buy it, you can put it there. It's pin compatible, everything is same. All it would require is a firmware tweak. So they upgraded it. Cool, awesome. But here's the deal. Then Sony did luge motion. So Sony came up with CFast Association. It's like, let's upgrade the offerings. Now again, same way you have SD association that has offering. You have SD card, mini SD card, and micro SD card. Now mini died, but micro survived. So you have micro SD card and full size SD card. Same here. So this time they have 3 offering. Meaning, when Sony made this, they had 2 lane in the design. XQD had 2 lanes. CFast association 2 lanes. So the idea is, what if you had only 1 lane? That is Sony's luge motion of Type A. This has 1 PCI lane, and Type B has 2 PCI lane. They also, on paper, launched a format PCI with 4 lanes, that is Type C. It has never been physically made. The 4 lane, how much is that? 4 lane is literally this. Literally, nothing more. This is 4 lane. So 4 lane can give you theoretical upper limit of 8 Gbps of PCI 4.0 lane, so they can do that. So 2 formats were introduced, Sony A luge motion and Type C, that never materialized so far. Again, it could come, but I don't think so it will come, because even raw formats are not that heavy that you need to go more than 2 lanes. 2 lanes are like, bro, we good. So that's CFast 2.0. So in the moment you buy any Luxa card, any card, Angel Bird, whatever have you, you will generally say 2.0 written. That's this format. And recently, you would have paid attention if you have bought something recently. It says CFast Express 4.0. So what is that? What happened to 3? Well, they had an issue. They are working with PCI Express Association. So PCI Express Association is like, bro, you are offset by our number, meaning your V2 actually uses V3. So what if you upgrade? Cool, awesome, but you jump one number. So instead of going to 3.0, they directly jump to 4.0. Benefit is when you read into this, manufacturer will read, it's a 4.0. What generation of PCI? Oh, 4.0, meaning this exact hardware, exact what we call SoC can be utilized, exact flash controller can be used, everything remains the same. Meaning now if they're gonna release CFexpress, CFexpress 5.0, it will be PCI 5.0. So they have synced it. And PCI lane went from generation 3 to generation 4. Now, does that matter to you? Actually, yes. Even if your camera, let's just say most cameras that are released now is PCI 3.0, you can use PCI 4.0 card, meaning this is PCI 4.0 card I can use in a camera that is PCI 3.0. That's the whole luxury of PCI. It's designed to be backwards and forwards compatible. So I can use that. But when I'm dumping footage, I can have a card reader that is PCI 4.0 and tada, I can enjoy full speed dumping. Meaning if camera can record, I do not care. But dumping, I can save exponentially large amount of time. Meaning in camera, who cares? As long as it's record video, who cares what's the speed? Dumping, as long as you can dump at max speed, you can go YOLO. So this is type A, single lane, but because it's PCI 4.0, this is 1800 Mbps read speed, meaning you need USB 20 Gbps to read data from it at full saturation. So this is fast. That's why I'm like very doubtful that we ever gonna see type C cards, because again, 4-lane would be just this. At that point, that's what you are adding. So that's the whole point. This is the history. That's how we are finally reaching a pinnacle of technology synergy. SSD manufacturer is the same thing that is making U.2. That is the same thing that is CFast cards, CFexpress cards. Now, be mindful. This is still expensive, and you have to understand. Nikon was the first that created XQD, and all they had to do is firmware update. They did it in 2019, meaning if you had a camera that is on 2018 and you're like, what the hell, I'm stuck with it, nothing, just update the firmware, enjoy CFexpress. So CFexpress was done in 2019, and Sony came out with their first loose motion. That was Sony A7S3. That was the first time people got type A slot. This thing, actually this is a bit smaller than SD card. Although why? It is so frustrating. It's like, you made this format, use it. Why you're forcing your customers to buy something? This is 2x expensive, by the way. Like same manufacturer, look into same manufacturer, whoever the manufacturer is, SanDisk, Patriot, or OCZ, whatever have you, it's always 2x. So we have to pay double for the same capacity and half the speed. So that's the problem of it, because again, it's one lane. Although CFexpress is still in the early phase, there are a lot of DIY solutions, because again, when Sony designed it, they designed it with wisdom. This format, SSD format that we physically use, what we call a 2230, 22 millimeter wide, 30 millimeter tall, it fits inside that. And you're like, okay, that fits. Okay, that's a physical fit. What about the electronic? It's exactly the same. Now, if you ever think, okay, then why can't we just plug it directly? It's not designed for hot swapping. It's not designed to be touched. There is no format, because you can have some SSD that has chips on the one side, some has chip on the both side, some have heat sinks, some don't. So that's why, like, you need a standard. It's an indoor component. It's like, you supposed to install it, or motherboard manufacturer have to figure it out, a laptop manufacturer have to figure it out. Users not supposed to figure it out. Here, when you are talking about a card, you're not supposed to think about it. It's a card, the end. So that's why the format had to be designed. So this you can put, and what about the wiring and all that? Exactly same. Exactly. That's why you do not need IC or integrator. You would add some capacitor to do the hot fingering, as in this, you can see all the lines are exactly the same. You never want that. That means when you pull it out, it will create short. So if you look into hard drive, because they are designed for hot swapping, they have longer grounding pin. Grounds makes the contact first, so everything becomes stable, and then you connect the voltage rails. This does take care of that part. Nothing physical, it's just like the traces are longer, the physical contact traces are longer. So you can just do it, and you're like, okay, doesn't that mean I have to pay for the basically adapter and then pay for M.2? Yes. Does that matter or save money? Yes. Meaning, if you have to deal with especially large cards, as in like 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte, this buying both of them saves you money. Although right now it's a very bad time, but again, it's because of the AI collapse. This is still cheaper right now. So you can do that because again, it's M.2 on that. And benefit, even if your camera is not using the full power of this, while you are dumping that footage, you can utilize the full power of it. So that is there. And type B, because again, type B is bigger. Some people came up with the whole adapter, meaning put this size. This is much more cheaper than small size. Why? Mass produced. So they're like, hey, just buy this adapter and put a large one. 4 terabyte, the price gap is huge. Like almost $1,000 price gap would be there if you use something like this and an adapter. Adapter plus full size 4 terabyte SSD. This is a for Western Digital Black SN700. You can use that. Now, will it work? Problem is, it generally does not have enough retimer chips, enough power. So it's like, some cameras can deal with it, most camera may not. So it's like, use at your own risk kind of deal. This you can trust with much higher certainty, like 90% trust. This, it may work, it may not work. So test it before using it. And this is because Sony sells enough of it, people realized that they had to solve this type A issue. So they created adapter like this. Very poor reception. Like a lot of people are noticing that you can buy it, you can work it, it's just not reliable enough. Meaning while you're recording video, it will randomly drop out. So this far more trustworthy solution. These solutions are like, but again, if it works for you, it's like shut up, take money. If it works for your camera, shut up, take money, especially at large sizes. 4 terabyte size is like, price is not even a competition at that point in time. So DIY options is there. You can trust this, but again, if it's a client work, meaning somebody else is paying you, I would say stay away from it. But if you're doing for yourself, go YOLO on it. Because again, you do have to understand, it does not have such certification. Whenever you buy something like this puppy is certified for V400, meaning they have tested this, almost written to 90% fully cooked, and it was still able to sustain 400 megabytes write speed. Now again, do we need that? No, I don't even know any camera that can reach this puppy. But so that's certainty. Again, stills, you don't have to worry about it. Low level video, you don't have to worry about it. As long as camera accepts it, does not throw an error, you good, you're fine, enjoy. But other than that, it's like, be mindful. Now we come to 4.0. Now 4.0, you have to understand, CFexpress flat out Type B is the future. Like same way people used to buy quality SD card, because again, even if you upgrade your camera, SD card would be there. Now it has become CFexpress Type B. It's used by everyone except Sony. Ironically, even Sony uses it, but on FX, not on A series. I really hate that part. Like, it's the same loose motion they did where like every mobile manufacturer is like, hey, we're gonna use secure disk, SD association of parts. Sony's like, yeah, we're gonna get Magic Gate. And if you're like, what the hell is Magic Gate? Yeah, exactly. It did not work. I mean, like, Sony made it, launched it. I have Magic Gate parts, but it was never successful. It was successful with PlayStation 1 and 2, but not in like mobile phone cameras. Heck, buy old A-series cameras, they have Magic Gate symbol on the card slots. It's supposed to take it. Nobody just manufactures the card. So it's the same loose motion. But again, this time, because Sony is selling so much camera, that people are just putting up with it. That's why, like, Angelbert manufactured this one and all that. So that's the ironic part. Like, you can buy Blackmagic CFast Type B, Red CFast Type B, Fuji CFast Type B, Canon CFast Type B, Nikon CFast Type B. Everybody is using Type B. So Type B is the thing. But like Sony users cannot do it. And it has the same voltage, same everything as M.2 SSD, meaning mass production will bring down the price. And it has. That's why I keep specifying it. Right now, if you compare the price to SSD UHS-2 V90, you'll be shocked. Like, this hyper expensive one is almost half the price of what you can get. Like, actually, you can't even get 1 terabyte in Indian market online. 1 terabyte V90 cards. This can go to 1 terabyte. So that is there. Although, let that be very clear. I'm talking about camera. Cameras are requiring something that is big, something that is robust. So if it says, like in this scenario, V400, I can put this into any equipment that is like, hey, V400 rated. Cool, fine. V800 is also there. And people are working on faster than that, but camera is not there. Even Red is not there. Red is like, as long as you are above 600, you good. You good. V800 is like, actually even V600 is more than good enough. It's just, they're like, so you do have to have a very high-end card reader, especially for people who want to do rapid delivery. Your camera has a fixed speed, but if dumping footage, especially if you have large cards, it will take hours, because again, if you have a cheap card reader, it will be, worst case scenario is 5 Gbps. It will take forever. And be mindful, whenever card reader speeds are reader, they are small b. Like this is Gbps, 40 Gbps. What is that? Small b. So it will take its sweet time to dumping the file. And assuming you have SSD in your computer that is fast enough. Is SSD fast enough? Yes, almost all of them. Like this is 4-lane basic M.2. This is 7,000 of write speed, meaning it can easily sustain 3,800, which you will get because again, 2-lane is only maximum available, 2-lane. So you do need a card reader. Let that be very clear. You do need a card reader. Do not cheap out on card reader, especially if time is important to you. If you have time, go YOLO on it. Heck, I'm not buying a card reader because I'm hoping, fingers crossed, if A7 Mark V comes out ever, it actually has USB 10 Gbps chip that actually works at that speed. As in 1 gigabytes of read speed. If I can achieve that, me good. Would higher speed be better? Yes, but not necessary, not urgent. And again, this has an upper limit because again, this is what you call single lane. It can only go to 2 Gbps. So buying 40 Gbps, it would be overkill. Although Angelbird does make card readers also that are that fast. So let that be very clear. Do not cheap out on card reader if dumping speed is important to you. And this is the future 4.0, because again, now it's in sync with PCI generations, and every company has adopted it. Every single company, including Hasselblad. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure even Leica, one of their model have this. So this is it. SD card is now for cheap cameras. CFexpress Type B is for 99%. CF Type A for Sony users, and Type C, let's see if it ever comes out. Although I think this big cinema company, they could have used that. They could have used that. Oh, RE. Yeah, RE. They made their own format. They said like, CFast Type B was not fast enough. Like Type C was designed for that only. You just wanted to create your custom proprietary so you can charge whatever you want to charge. So let's see. I do wish for Type C because again, at that point, just put it that. So this was my presentation on CFexpress 4.0, the future. Hopefully you have liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show my disappointment. Please leave a comment because I do try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.